Welcome to the Freedom and Prosperity Podcast with your host, Desi Arnaz. Join us as we explore the journeys of top achievers who share strategies and stories about their success and living life on their own terms. Get ready to be inspired.
Well, hello, guys, and welcome to today's episode of the Freedom and Prosperity Podcast. I am Desi Arnaz, your host, and I am so looking forward to today's episode. It's a reconnection for me with a person that I knew from a few years ago, and we hadn't spoken to each other in a while, but she's here today, and she's going to share her story with you and provide you with some inspiration and some opportunities, and we'll just see where it goes from there. Her name is Mary Hart. Hello, Mary. Welcome to our podcast today.
Thank you, Desi. So nice to see you again. It's been a while.
Yeah, it has been a while. Yeah, we've spoken on the same stages, if I remember correctly.
Yes, that's correct. Out in Arizona, I believe. We were in Phoenix.
Yeah. Yeah, right. I remember that. Yeah. Well, this is great. So now here we are again on the same platform. Okay. So,
Yes. And
yeah.
thank you for having me. And please, like I said earlier, excuse my appearance. I'm packing a house today and time slipped up on me. So I'm in my
No,
baseball hat.
that's quite all right. I know you don't look lawyerly today because
No, I don't feel lawyerly today. I feel like just a worker bee right now, packing boxes and schlepping furniture and stuff.
Yeah. Well, I know that you have a legal background, and I know that you also have an investment background, and it's in your overall story, in my opinion, is pretty impressive. Would you mind, just for our listeners here and viewers, giving us a little bit of your background, Mary?
Sure. Yeah, sure. So I have been a licensed attorney since 1991. So that's a little scary to think that's been 34
It's a
years.
while.
Very hard to believe. I actually retired from lawyering in 2018, I believe. I had my own firm for a while and shut that down when I realized that my investing life brought me more fulfillment and more wealth than my lawyering life, even when I owned the law firm and had like 10 employees. So I decided to shut down the law firm. I consult occasionally, but I have been an investor and a private lender for a little over 20 years, 22 years. And so now I'm focusing exclusively on that. So I have a number of different types of investments. I have with a partner a short-term and mid-term rental portfolio. I'm involved in a self-storage development as an owner. I've got farmland, retail spaces, things like
Mm-hmm.
that. And then I'm ramping up my lending business, which is Fair Oaks Funding. And I brought in my colleague Patty Bain to work with me this year to grow that business. So that's what we're
Nice.
focusing on this year is private lending in a number of states and growing that.
You're the real deal.
Well, thank you. Thank you. I hope so. I hope so. I try to be. Try to
Yeah,
be.
you're the real deal, not a wannabe. And
Nope,
that's
definitely
good.
not want to be. Yeah, I don't want to be.
That's good. That's very good. Well, I appreciate you sharing that. And so, it's funny, you paid the price to become a lawyer, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And you found that you had greater success and personal fulfillment outside of what you went to university for.
Yes, I loved lawyering. I loved it. I started out as an estate planner and over the years added on business law and real estate law and all that. And I loved helping people, particularly in estate planning, fulfill their goals and take care of their families. I call it your ultimate love letter when you do
Mm-hmm.
your estate plan and have all your information together for your loved ones in case something happens to you. But I got tired of managing a bunch of employees and I got tired of being stuck in a conference room all day and being scheduled 3 to 6 months out. I had no
Wow.
spontaneity in my life because we were so busy that I
Yeah.
had client meetings scheduled back to back for months and months on end. And so I started investing, dabbling in investing, just got a hankering for it, so to speak, and started doing, I did one flip that did not go well, not my forte. Then I started doing lending, and then I bought a commercial building, and then I started renovating some buildings into vacation rentals and retail spaces. And I was still running a law firm and working very hard as a single mom of 3 little boys at the time, and doing all this, running a 1031 exchange company, a law firm, a vacation rental business, doing some private lending on the side. And I realized that although I still loved helping people with the lawyering, I did not like managing a law firm. I did not like being so scheduled out. And I started teaching around the country more and more. And I just loved that. I loved
Yeah.
teaching to real estate investors. And it became difficult to do everything. And so something had to go. So I shut down the law firm. And what's funny is I rented my building that I owned. That was my law firm building in downtown Asheville, North Carolina. I rented that building, and the first year of that rent, it was a triple net lease, paid more to me than my salary as the owner of a law firm.
Oh my
And I was
gosh.
like, oh my gosh, why didn't I do this years ago? Years ago. So I just, got a big check every month, and I didn't even have to pay any of the bills, and I didn't have to do any work for it.
Yeah.
So,
Oh my
that made
gosh.
me bite that bug even harder. And then I'd been doing private lending for about 20 some years as a hobby. And Patty, who's working with me now, Patty Bain, she was my most prolific borrower over the last 5 or 6 years. And I think in
Mhm.
2024, we did $5 million worth of loans
Whoa.
together. She is the
Wow.
flipper and me as the lender.
Wow.
And she was getting tired of flipping, and I was deciding I liked this business and I wanted to grow it. And so I asked her to come on board with me. And so that's what we're doing now. We're lending in, I can't remember how many states: Virginia, North Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia, Tennessee, Alabama, Mississippi, Missouri, Texas.
Wow.
Where we are right now. We're growing that. We're just growing that business and loving every minute of it. So we're busy, but it's a lot of,
Yeah.
yeah, I love it because I'm helping borrowers grow their wealth, and I'm helping investors grow their wealth. And
So how does that work when you say you're helping both of them? How
yeah,
does that play out?
sure. So, well, on the borrower side, obviously you need capital to do your deals, right? Let's talk about a fix and flip loan or a new
Okay.
construction or a small commercial loan. Those are the ones we do right now. And if you don't have capital, you can't get your deal off the ground unless you have all your own money. So we go into deals that we think will be profitable not only for us, but for the borrower. So we're helping them by providing capital and
Mm-hmm.
working with them to make sure, as much as possible, their project is a success. And
Mm-hmm.
then for 22 years, I just was it was just my money and my lines of credit that I was loaning. And I
Mm-hmm.
was hesitant to take investor money because, how do you sleep at night when you've got somebody else's money, right?
Yes.
Makes you very, very nervous. And so anyway, I had this epiphany one day that if we're put in this earth to help serve other people, which I believe we are, I think that makes us better people.
I do too.
And I was serving a borrower population and I was serving myself, but there was this whole other contingent of people that I was not serving. And that's the investors who don't know how to do the investing themselves, but have money that they want to grow for their retirement. And so I just decided, I've been doing this for 22 years with no foreclosures, no losses. Maybe I really can share that skill set and my expertise with others and help them.
Maybe I know what I'm doing.
Maybe I know what I'm doing, and I can help investors who have cash but don't have the skill set or don't want to be that active,
Right.
grow their wealth. And so once I saw that, I thought, yeah, let's just do that and let's just make it bigger, because I could have gone on forever. I didn't need to make it bigger financially for myself.
Mm-hmm.
I enjoyed it. But
Mm-hmm.
I was making plenty of money doing other things and through the lending. But I thought, let's help as many people as we can. Let's grow this business and help some borrowers, help some more investors, and have a great time while we're doing it. So that's what we're doing.
It's all about service, isn't it? When you're of service to others.
It
Yeah.
is. And the hardest part of it was figuring out a name for the company. I find that this is terrible to admit. It's really it's terrible to admit. I finally used my street name. I live on Fair Oaks. My company is Fair Oaks Funding. Like I thought I was trying to come up with all these great names that
Yeah.
trust and reliability and all this. And
Yeah.
they all sound trite. I don't like any of them. And then one day I got a piece of mail addressed to me at Fair Oaks. I'm like, Fair Oaks Funding, that'll
There
work.
we go.
Nice alliteration. And oak tree is very strong and sturdy, and
Yes.
fair is
Yes.
a good word in the lending business. So anyway, that's how the name came about, Fair Oaks Funding.
Yeah, it's funny how sometimes we overthink things, right? And
Yeah.
but I'm glad that it worked out. And I like the name, by the
Yeah.
way.
Thank you.
Yeah, I like the name. I think it's a solid name. When I went to your website, and by the way, the website for those of you that w want to visit Mary's website is fairoaksfunding.com, right, Mary?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
you can go there. And so when people go there, they can be people that have money to invest or people that need money for an investment.
That's right. Yeah, there are different buttons you click on depending on whether you're looking to borrow money or invest your money. And that takes you into our CRM platform, our customer relations management platform, and puts you in touch with us so that we can then reach out and see what your needs are and if we are a good fit for you and vice versa.
Mhm.
And that starts the process. So I think for a borrower, there's a button called Get Funded Now. Very exciting button. And I
Yeah,
can't remember
that's
what the
what it
button
is.
is.
Yeah.
Yeah, Get Funded Now. And I can't remember what the investor button is. It might just say Invest with us or something like that. But it'll be very obvious for those who
It
want to.
says invest with us. I'm looking at your website.
Okay, all right, awesome.
It
Well, our
says invest.
logo is in process. We're on our third iteration of the logo. That one is the second one, and I don't love it, so we're working on that. So that might change, but the work product doesn't change, the customer service doesn't change, just all those pretty little social media graphics that, I'm not very good at. So we're working on that part.
Well, Mary, when I hear your story, I heard you say that you walked away from something that you had invested a lot of time and energy into. And for a lot of people, that thought is extremely scary. And I was
Yeah.
just wondering how you dealt with that because it had to be a little bit unnerving to think, okay, I'm going to walk away from my bread and butter over here,
It
right?
it it was very unnerving, and I thought about selling my practice because we were a very successful practice, but it was named after me. It was the Hart Law Group.
Uh-huh.
Didn't want to put mine, and we were branded as the Hart Law Group. So that's how people found us. And I didn't want to leave my name out there with a third party that I didn't know how they would treat their clients.
Sure.
So I just literally shut it down. I didn't sell it. I didn't get any money from it. I just shut it down because it was more important to me to keep my reputation stellar
Hmm.
than have it go to a third party I could not control and not sure what would happen. So I just shut it down. And I found that by then I'd been practicing, I don't know, 27 years or something like that. And I
Hmm.
loved it, except for the administrative part of it. But it took me probably 3 years to not feel like I'd completely lost my sense of identity. If I wasn't an active lawyer,
Wow.
what was I? My
Wow.
kids were grown up, so I wasn't a full-time mom anymore. I got
Wow.
married that year. I shut down my firm to my second husband. So I was a wife, but what was I if I wasn't a lawyer? I was an investor, but I didn't have a business. It was just my own personal stuff. So it
Sure.
was really tough for a long time. I felt irrelevant. I felt a little irrelevant, and I struggled with that for a long time. And I just kept teaching, and I taught a lot of estate planning to real estate investors. And that was weird because people would then want me to do their estate plans, but I was no longer lawyering.
Yeah.
And then I started teaching other subjects, other real estate investing subjects, and I found my groove again. But it took a long time for me to realize that I was not irrelevant just because I was not practicing with my law degree anymore.
So there is life after a major event like that, a major decision
Yes.
like that. And that's the
Yeah.
message that I really want you guys out there that are watching this to hear, because I know that some of you guys are analyzing, what's it, analysis paralysis or something. It's like,
Right.
should I, right? My story is similar in that I walked away from a career as well. Well, not much of a career, and not like a lawyer, but I had been a real estate agent and broker for many years, more than 30, and then I walked away from that to just invest only, you know.
Yeah. And that's the
And
other thing. It's scary because now you're like, ooh, can I
yes,
can I fully support my family on
right.
this new venture? So that was scary for sure.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because you don't know. You don't know. You
Yeah.
hope, right? And I
Yeah.
remember when I was telling my wife, because I was managing a real estate office here in San Diego for a buddy of mine, and um, and I remember telling my wife I was leaving it, and she's like, are you
Yeah.
sure you
Are you
want to do
sure?
this?"
Are you sure? Do we have savings, waiting for us?
Yeah, right.
Yeah, no, it is scary. And I finally decided that if I took the mental bandwidth that I'd been putting into my law firm and just converted that to the mental bandwidth necessary for my investing career, that I could do it. I just had to believe in me, and that was hard for me. I definitely have some self-limiting beliefs that I struggle with, and I
Hmm.
grew up in the South in a household where you didn't talk about money. That was a
Hmm.
taboo subject. You didn't brag about yourself. You
Hmm.
basically talked yourself down, which is not what any of us should do, right? And so even though I had been very successful, I always thought I was just pulling the wool over everybody's eyes, right? That's in the imposter syndrome. It's a
Oh my
real
God.
thing. It's real. Imposter syndrome
Wow.
is real. And finally, I had a lot of good friends who are real estate investors who just said, "You're crazy. What are you talking about? We all want to be you. You can do this." And so I just leapt, and it was scary. It is still scary now that we're trying to grow this business. It is scary
Hmm.
because now I have employees that are counting on me, right? And
Hmm.
hopefully future partners. Those
Hmm.
employees will hopefully be future partners. So it is still very, very scary. But I think one of the lessons I want people to realize is that we all need to really believe in ourselves. We can do it. You've survived
Yeah.
100% of your bad days so far, if you're still here on this side of the
Yeah.
dirt. And we can do it. I think that we need others. I really believe that to be successful in any venture, you need, especially real estate investing, you need four things. You need the right mindset. So you got to get your, no stinking thinking. You got to get your brain
Hmm.
in the right place. That's
Hmm.
reading inspirational books like Napoleon Hill and Jim
Sure.
Rohn and Zig Ziglar and whatever it is that inspires you. So you need mindset, you need knowledge. So whatever area you want to work in, you've got to learn how to do that, learn what all the things you need to think about. You need a network of people that are in that business. We all need a team,
Yeah.
further, faster together, right? And you need to take action. A lot of people will do 1, 2, and 3, and then they have that analysis paralysis and they never
Yeah.
take action. So you're never going to move forward without the action, but the action is the scariest piece. It's easy to go to a seminar. It's easy to read a book. It's easy to get yourself jazzed up in your kitchen, but to actually put pen to paper and do a deal based on that is the scariest thing, and where you need the most belief in yourself. And I
Yeah.
think that's when it helps to surround yourself with the right network of people who cheer you on, people who believe in you. And that saying, it's lonely at the top. I think that's true if you surround yourself with people who believe in a lack of abundance, or people who are
Yeah.
jealous or resentful.
Yeah.
So, and we all have had to deal with those types of people. But if you find the people who are so confident in their own life and they're truly your cheerleaders, then surround yourself with those people who not only are mentors to you, but who are encouragers and supporters and think you hung the moon and will help you get there, right?
Yeah.
So mindset, knowledge, network, and action, you've got those four things, then you can do anything you want to do. You just got to believe in yourself to do it.
Well, Mary, when you were talking about this, it was just kind of resonating with me very well because I do coach and train people on the things, right? You said mindset, knowledge. What was the third?
Network,
Network.
network,
Yeah.
and
Mindset,
action.
knowledge, and network.
Yeah,
So I have people that have gone through my program. And of course, we have the mind, we work on mindset, we provide all the knowledge that they need. And we also have a big network, and we show people how to grow their own network as well.
right.
But they're also part of our network. But boy, oh boy, getting them to take action sometimes it's
Hard.
it's really, really difficult.
It's very hard. And there will be people that no matter what you say to them, they're never going to take action. It's just in their personality.
Yeah.
And that is hard to accept, particularly if you're the coach or the teacher. Like I
Yeah.
run masterminds myself and do some coaching, and it's so hard because you can see it for them. You can see it for them. Oh
Yeah.
my gosh, you're so close. Don't stop 3 feet short of gold, as that story is, right? Don't
Yeah.
stop 3 feet short of gold. Keep going, keep going. But the bottom line becomes you are not them, and you can only do your best, and you can't make someone,
Right.
that whole you can lead a horse to water, can't make them drink. You can do everything possible, but they have to take the action. You can't do their sit-ups for them, as somebody said.
Yeah.
They have to do that part. The action part is a solo game. You can have joint
Yeah.
venture partners and things like that, but you have to take some action. And it's
Yeah.
the hardest hurdle to get past, really.
It
Um,
is.
yeah,
But I think that, if people, I used to think it was because they didn't really believe it. It's one thing to say, yes, I believe that I can do this. But I had a guy on one of my calls the other day who said to me, "No, Desi, it's not belief. It's not a lack of belief." He says, "I totally believe in what we're doing." He said, "But for me, it's got to be fun." And he said, "I just haven't found a way to enjoy what it is that needs to be done."
yeah. Then he
And I
needs
thought,
to
well,
do
that's
something
interesting.
else. He needs to do
Yeah.
something.
In
I
my
have a
mind, I was thinking he needs to grow up.
Yeah. Oh, well, yeah, we don't get to have fun 24/7, right?
Thank
I have
you.
a good friend, you might know him, Dave Steck, and Dave says, everything he looks at doing has to do one of three things. It either has to do good in the world, has to make an obscene amount of money, or has to be fun. And he said the most important that, and it sounds, classless, but is the most to make the most money, because with the money, you can do the most good and have the most fun.
Thank you.
Right? And so, because and I tell my kids this, making money is not a bad thing. Money is not the root of all evil. And all my kids are very civic minded people. They volunteer. And I say, that's
Hmm.
great, but you only have so many hours in a day to help that charity. If you can still volunteer for them, but if you make a good amount of money, think how much you can help them also with money, because
Yeah.
money can replace a lot of volunteer hours or help pay for things that pay for staff or whatever. So I think it's all important, and I don't think money is evil. I think if it's done well, earned well, treated well, with respect, it's not used against others, then I think money is something to be celebrated.
Yeah, it is. It is. And it's really at the end of the day, it's why we do what mo it's why most people get out of bed every day and go and work 8 hours. It's not because they love what they do, it's because they need money. So
Yeah.
you can't discount it and say it's not relevant. And I agree with what you just said. If you had more money, now you can do more good and
Then
you
you
can
can
have
have more
more
fun.
fun.
Yeah, you can have more fun.
Who did you say, who was that quote from?
Dave Steck, Stech. He's a big investor. He's a friend of
Mhm.
mine.
Yeah,
Um,
I'm gonna give him credit, but I'm gonna use that. I wrote it
yeah,
down.
no, it's great. It's really great. And there was another guy who I learned from. His name's escaped me right now, James, and his last name's escaping me.
Hmm.
Um, James Malinchek. Sorry about that. Sorry, James, if you see this.
Oh yeah.
James, you probably know James. James
Yes, I
always
do.
said everything he does is through the filter of, will this contribute to or contaminate my freedom?
Wow.
Somebody asks him to do something, he thinks to himself, will this contribute to or contaminate my freedom?
Wow,
And
look at
what's the
that.
fastest way to the cash, right? That's the other part he said. And he says, if it contaminates my freedom, he politely says no. And if it
I
will
love it.
contribute to his freedom, he says yes.
You know,
So
we're
another one that I love.
this whole podcast is about freedom and prosperity. That's why I started this because I believe that we can all have freedom at some level, right?
Yeah,
And not everybody wants the same freedoms. That we all have different things that means something different to all of us,
sure.
is what I'm thinking, you know. But in
Absolutely.
general, that's why we do what we do because we want some level of freedom.
Yeah. And you'll certainly find different people. There are people who all they want to do is make enough money to pay their bills, and that's
Yeah.
all they want to do. They're
Yeah.
perfectly happy with that. And that's their definition of freedom. And that's great. Then you've got people who want to pay their bills and just have a little extra fun, and that's their definition of freedom, and that's great. Then
Hmm.
you have people who want to not only create all that for themselves, but create a legacy for their children or their grandchildren or their great
Hmm.
grandchildren or their
Hmm.
charities. And they're willing to put the time and effort in to grow it even bigger so that they leave a lasting, financial legacy or maybe some other
Hmm.
kind of legacy to things and people they care about. So everybody's different, like you said. And I think if everybody just works for what makes them feel free, whether that's just paying your bills or whether it's doing something huge, it's very individual preference.
Well, that was what you just said was kind of an awakening for me because I assumed that everyone with a family wanted to do the most that they could for their family and their heirs. Um, but in conversations that I've had with many people, I'm surprised there's a
Yeah.
percentage of people out there that's not high on their list of priorities. You
No,
know?
and I think that there are a lot of people who think the best they can do for their family is not provide for them financially, because then those children and grandchildren need to learn how to sink or swim on their own, make
Hmm.
their own money, do their own good in the world, and
Hmm.
that if they just provide for them financially, that they're depriving their children and grandchildren of a depth in life that they might otherwise have if they had to go sink or swim on their own. So,
Wow.
and that's valid too, right?
Yeah.
The beauty of our human race is that we all think differently. We all have our own backgrounds and things that contribute to how we feel, how we think. And everybody should be able to do life the way they want to. With
Yeah.
my kids, I want to make as much money as possible to leave to my kids, or I don't want to leave my kids a dime. It's all valid. Everybody
Yeah.
should choose.
The reasons behind it are valid.
Yeah.
And you know, the funny thing is, I was someplace in the middle, I think, you know, and then I partnered with a gentleman, he's a physician, and he was telling me what his grandfather had done for them when he was just a boy, right? His grandfather had set up a family trust and had done some other things. Bottom line on it though is grandpa didn't just leave them a bunch of money, but he did create a system where their life would be a little easier
Hmm.
if they plugged into the system. They didn't have to plug into the system, but he created a way for them to have a little bit, kind of grease the skids a little bit, but they still had to get out there and do it on their own.
Right.
And so
Right.
I spoke with him. He shared with me in depth how it looked, and I went out and I did the same thing. I thought that's kind of where I'm at. I don't want to just leave what I have for the next generation and just make a bunch of spoiled trust fund babies or whatever, you
Sure.
know. But at the
Yeah.
same time, I do want to provide something for them. And so that was kind of where my head was. And you being an estate planning, well, formerly
Yeah.
an estate planning attorney, you probably have heard all from from both ends of the spectrum.
Yes, I have. And I've drafted a lot of trust documents that do everything from give it
Yeah.
all out no matter what to, hey, you've got to meet these certain parameters before you get it to, hey,
Yeah.
this is only for long-term emergencies or whatever.
Yeah.
In my life, I was very blessed because my parents believed that the best gift they could give me was my education. So they paid for my college and my law school education. I came out with
Wow.
no debt. So what
Wow.
that gave me was massive opportunity because I wasn't saddled with a huge debt. But
Hmm.
along with that, they taught me that work ethic is super important. The way you treat others is super important. Like I had the upbringing to become a good person, even though I was given great opportunity.
Hmm.
And I think when you combine those two, it's fine to leave wealth to your children. It's encouraged. But I think if you just write a blank check to your children and you don't teach them how to be good stewards of the money or how to be good people in this world or how not to feel entitled like somebody else owes them something,
Sure.
then you're doing your children a disservice. But if you can do both, in my opinion, that's great. And that's what was done for me was create opportunities with money that my parents used for my education. And I was encouraged to not just go to college, but to go to graduate school.
Wow.
And
See?
they foot the bill. They footed the bill for it.
Yeah. Well, that's fantastic. I love it. And
Yeah.
that is a very good message. And I think that the children that appreciate it, now, you appreciated it. There's
Absolutely.
probably since not all children see things the same way, right? Your parents
Yeah.
could have four children. They could have done the same thing
Sure.
for all four of you.
Yeah.
And two of you went down your road and two of them go down another path. It's kind of weird.
I mean, you
But
never know. You never know, right? What
yeah,
people are going to choose. But I think if you instill good values in your children and you don't
there
make them
you
feel
go.
like they're entitled to this
Yeah.
just by virtue of being born into that family, that
Yeah.
they have to be good people and your parents want to help you, but you have to like if I was a nasty person and or I flunked out of law school, which I didn't, I graduated number one, luckily. But anyway,
Hey,
worked very hard. But had I not worked that hard, I'm not sure my parents would have paid for the second year of the law school,
sure.
but they saw me work very, very, very hard.
And
And
and you have no problem supporting a person that you see
right,
really is trying. And
right,
you were talking earlier also about investors that are out there and they want to pull the trigger, but they're stuck, right, in analysis paralysis or whatever it is holding them back.
right.
As a successful investor personally, and having spoken to so many of my peers, I can tell you the successful investors that I know are happy to mentor and coach a person that is legitimately trying to make it happen. You know?
Absolutely. And I
Yeah.
think what holds people back sometimes is they don't want to look stupid. So they don't want to ask for help. They
Right.
don't want to ask questions. And when I teach around the country, I tell people there is no such thing as a stupid question. If there's a question in your head, by definition, it's not stupid, right? Because it's a legitimate question.
Sure.
And I think that if the people who are stuck would realize that it's actually a sign of respect and flattery to go to someone who knows more than you and say, "Wow, I'm really impressed by you. Will you help me? Will you
Yeah.
help me do this? I'll do whatever it takes. I'll learn. I just really want to, be mentored."
Yeah.
And don't expect it for free. Either it might cost or you might need to do something for them. Hey, you want me to stuff a bunch of yellow letters for you? Lick stamps? What can I
Yeah.
do? And
Yeah.
I think if you show people that you're willing to give them value, then they're certainly willing to give you value.
Yeah. Yeah. That certainly is the case for me personally and for people that I know that have the experience to provide the mentorship. We have no
Yep.
problem at all working with someone who's serious and who has demonstrated that they are committed. to
Right.
making to the success. Like your parents with you, they saw what you did in year one of law school. So yeah, sure, let's help her with year two.
Yeah.
Why not?
Yeah.
You know,
And
she
the
didn't
other
just
thing,
go there and party like nuts,
oh
right?
no, yeah, no, exactly. And I think that for those mentors, the people who already know the information, I think we all have to keep an open mind and realize we can always learn something from the
Oh,
other person, even
you
if they're
bet.
not as experienced as we are, right? Every interaction I have with some person, with every person, I learn something. Now, maybe I learn what I don't like, but I learned something, right? But I'm also often surprised by somebody who may be new in it, but they have a different insight or they have a question that makes me think about something in a way I'd never thought about it before and opens
Yeah,
my mind a little bit more. And for
yeah,
those people who are seeking mentorship, and I'd say this to my kids, the worst thing you could do is go, I know, I know, I know, because that just shuts your brain off, right? Be open to whatever somebody's trying to teach you. You don't have to agree with them in the end, but at least listen and be open. Because if you just start saying, I know you don't need to teach me that, then you're not going to learn everything you
yeah.
need to learn. You're going to
Yeah,
shut
that's so annoying to me when I run into people that do that, you know? Yeah, no.
and the other mindset piece that really helped me, and I read this somewhere along the way years ago, is that instead of saying, like, I can't do this, I'll never be able to do this, instead of saying, I can't do this, ask yourself, how can I do this? Because it switches something in your brain. And if your brain is hearing, I can't do this, I can't do this, I can't do this, it's just going to shut down. It's never going to try to find the path to doing
Sure.
it. But if your brain hears, how can I do this? Then it goes to work while you're asleep or anything else and tries to figure out the how of it. You don't need to
Hmm.
worry about the timing of it or anything else.
Hmm.
Just switch it from I can't to how can I, and your brain will work for you and start to figure
I
out.
love that. That's a great tip.
Yeah.
You
And I
know,
think a lot of us just get scared and say, I can't, I don't know what I'm doing, but say,
yes.
how can I? How
How
can I
can,
make $1 million a year? How can
yeah,
I buy my first rental property? How can I find a mentor? How can I loan to a flipper? Whatever it is that you want to
yeah,
do, just don't say I can't, because the
yeah.
brain will find a way.
Well, I love that. And you know, I was going to ask you for a last thought, and you know what? I love that right
That's it.
there.
That's the last thought.
That's the last thought as we wind down our episode today. So, Mary, if there's a book or anything like that that you would want to recommend, please feel free to do so, and also give people a way to reach out to you if you would.
Okay. There are so many books. I love all the mindset books. I love anything by Napoleon Hill, Zig Ziglar, Jim Rohn.
Okay.
If you haven't listened to Jim Rohn, he's no longer with us, but listen to Jim Rohn's, find his tapes. I've got them on Audible. They're awesome. So I'll leave that at that. But the way to get in touch with me, my email is just Mary Hart, MaryHart at fairoaksfunding.com. And my
Mhm.
work phone is 828-618-4442, 828-618-4442.
That's beautiful. And your website is fairoaksfunding.com. So you guys head on over to Mary's website, reach out to her if you guys have money that you want to invest, or if you're looking for money for your next investment opportunity. I'm sure that Mary will be happy to take a look at what it is that you're doing to see if it fits into what they're trying to do. And you could have a funding partner to help you move forward in your career. That would be nice, huh, Mary, to
Sure.
have a
We'd love to chat.
ongoing relationship,
Oh
right?
yeah.
It's like, hey, bring us all
I
your
love it.
deals.
And
Okay.
that's how we do things, right? Just create relationships. Real
Create
estate investing is a
relationships.
relationship business.
Yes. Yes, it is. So just create those relationships.
Yeah.
So,
Well, thank you
Mary,
for
I want to
having me.
thank it's my pleasure. And I want to thank you again for sharing your story here today. It's inspirational, it's motivational. And hey, you should be the next Jim Rohn and get out there and
My husband says I'm the female Tony Robbins. I don't know
there
about
you go.
lovely to have
You
someone
know?
in my corner who believes in me for sure.
Oh, I love it. I love it. So,
Thank
you guys, here's what I want you guys to do. I want you guys to share this episode with people that you know in your circle. Watch it again. There's so many pearls in here that Mary dropped today. You'll listen to it or watch it again, and you will hear things that you didn't hear the first time. But most importantly, as I said, share it and then reach out to Mary and her team over at Fair Oaks Funding and see if you guys can do some deals together, do some business together. Make them a part of your team. All
you.
right.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate that.
You're welcome, my dear.
All
And
right.
to you guys here, as always, I want to say God bless you, God bless your family, and God bless America. See you guys next time.
Thanks for tuning in to the Freedom and Prosperity Podcast with Desi Arnaz. Want to share your success story with our audience? Head over to freedomandprosperitypodcast.com/guest and apply to be our next guest.